alert, and 7 people are now dead in London after that horrific terror attack. So one question still remains: what can be done to stop the target of innocence?
Dr. James Mitchell developed the CIA's Enhanced Interrogation program and is the author of Enhanced Interrogation. He joins us now. We see these images. We wake up to the reality of more terror in London, in Britain. This is the third, as we've heard, in 10 weeks. This is a problem. They've got a threat in their midst. Theresa May says she wants to have an uncomfortable and difficult conversation about radicalism in her country. How do they do it, and how do they confront this, Doctor?
Well, the first thing they have to do is stop being politically correct. You know, the hard truth is we know how radical, violent Islamist ideology is spread. It's spread in mosques, in other religious organizations. It's spread in schools and universities and colleges. It's spread by Muslim outreach programs that pretend that they're doing outreach, but in fact are spreading radical ideology. It's spread by groups of friends and meetings. It's spread with contacts that people have overseas, and it's spread by relatives who are extremists themselves, and it's spread on the internet. We know how this is done. The problem is that we are unwilling, because of political correctness, to monitor the places that we need to monitor. We need to monitor those places. We need to infiltrate those places. We have to quit pretending that Islam is a religion of peace as it is practiced by the Islamists, because it's not.
James, I'm sure you heard Theresa May's statements earlier this morning. It was after 10:30 there in London when she came out and outlined 4 key areas that she wants to address. And she said we have to root out Islamic extremists by spreading Western values. I'm not sure exactly how you do that. Stop the safe haven you talked about, safe havens on the internet. So I don't know if you get Google on board, you get other ISPs on board, you get Verizon, you get AT&T, you get the local phone companies on board. How do you exactly do that? She says we have to remove safe spaces for terrorists in these neighborhoods. We have to have tough conversations about it. And fourth, she said we have to review our counter-terror strategy. What did you think of her speech? Can she get any of that done?
Well, I say good luck with spreading Western values. You know, one of the pretenses that we have is that they're just ignorant, that they just don't know what our Western values really are. And my experience from having talked with the senior terrorists that I talked to when I was as an interrogator for the CIA, when we were having conversations later around radicalization, is that they understand Western values.
Yes.
They reject them. They reject them in part because Western values cannot coexist with Islam as it is practiced today. They just don't coexist. What the folks have to do in order to be more secular about Islam, and there are some Muslims who do this, is they have to pretend that it doesn't say what it says, pretend that it's not interpreted as an open-ended command to spread Sharia to the whole world, and recognize that the things that are in the Quran and Hadith were constrained by the historical context of the person who wrote them and do not apply now.
Yeah, Doctor, you mentioned political correctness. I think that is spot on. I think that is a real challenge that we face, this political correctness that is inhibiting us from really taking down these terrorists. And the problem is, I mean, they don't care who they kill, right? I mean, they mow down anyone they see. It could be a tiny newborn baby. They would kill that if they could. How do we fix this political correctness? What is it going to take for people to open their eyes and realize that we need to move on?
You know, we have to do 2 things. The first thing, there are short-term things that we need to do, and she's correct, May's correct. They have to root out the networks. They have to, you know, all that stuff that she talked about. All that stuff they have to do. But the other thing they have to do is they have to preemptively stop this from happening by stopping the initial spread of this kind of Islamic ideology. If they don't, all we're doing is playing catch-up. We're reacting to crimes. You know, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed told me, in essence, that our freedom of religion and our tolerance were weapons that his God had placed on earth so that they could defeat us, and that what our religion, our religious freedoms would do is allow them to set up the networks they needed to set up, because thoughts are not crimes,
Sure.
ideas are not crimes, interacting with people are not crimes, and so we have to get smarter about where the expression of religious freedom actually becomes a crime, and law enforcement needs to intercede. And to do that, we need good surveillance, and we need the ability to infiltrate these groups that are spreading this radical ideology.
No, yesterday we had a commentator come on and talk about the unholy alliance of the left and Islamists that enable them to do this. In London, they know where the radical mosques are, and because of the freedoms of speech and religion there, they're able to preach this hatred on behalf of an enemy that's trying to kill the West, yet the West has committed its own cultural suicide and doesn't know what it actually believes in. Can they get to a point where we're revoking citizenship or revoking status, deporting folks that are sympathetic to radical Islam or ISIS, so that London can actually clean out this problem that's in its midst?
Well, it's going to have to come to that, right? I mean, the two options that are on the table is eventually allow those folks to win in a way that completely destroys the UK's national identity, or ordinary people have to demand that the politicians take steps to actually protect them. And if that means revoking the citizenship of people who came here came there under false pretenses, you know, who want to destroy the government, that's a choice they need to make in their legislature. But it's certainly something that may need to be done.
Yeah, I think Theresa May is feeling that pressure as she has an election like 5 days away from now. Dr. James Mitchell, really good to have you on this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.